Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the absolute honor of speaking to a content creator who built up a nice little community over on Twitch, playing MMO games. He played some other games along the way. He's a very big into marbles and Stream Raiders, and then he decided, let's take the leap over to YouTube gaming. Hopefully, build a community over there. He's been through some things recently, but he's emerged the other side victorious, and I'm hoping he's going to be going from strength to strength. Ladies and gentlemen, PapaKrund. Hello, PapaKrund. How are you doing today, man?
Doing great. Been a fun, busy day. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's been good, thank you. It's been good. So, with the streamer showcases, particularly this year, I'm trying to dive into people's origin stories, why they started streaming, more about them. So, let's start off with PapaKrund. Why are you called PapaKrund?
I had started using the name Krund back when I was playing WoW because I was trying to think of something that sounded orcish for a new character that I made. It happened to be my Death Knight, which I ended up then maining for 5 expansions before I ever took a break from it. And it just kind of stuck. It never disappeared. The name stayed the same. That's what I became known as. So it just never kind of went away. So then when I got into Call of Duty Warzone pretty hard, playing that frequently, we were in a gaming community. We ended up kind of absorbing a whole bunch of, not like little kids, but between like 13 and 17. And I typically was the only one willing to play with them frequently. So then everyone's like, oh, you're kind of like the grandpa to them. And then PapaKrund came to be a thing. So that's how that started.
Nice. Great. Okay. So obviously evolved then into the full PapaKrund as we are today. So what do you do outside of streaming?
I was a full-time content creator, not so much anymore. There was some stuff that you had to adjust based on some health stuff and mental health and some things like that. So not full-time anymore. Currently looking for a job, starting a job guaranteed by May 24th with a local energy company doing tech and tech support and stuff like that. But I do still focus a lot on content creation, on researching algorithms, marketing. I mean, that's pretty much my day in, day out if I'm not busy doing something with work or something with my daughter.
Great. Yeah, so the main, one of the reasons why I thought it would be great to bring you onto the show is you have done something that not too many people have done. Obviously, you've been streaming on Twitch for a while, and then you decided, let's go check out YouTube. And you transfer to YouTube, and obviously you've come across some of the issues that you have with YouTube streaming. Obviously, it's a new platform. Quite a few people have transferred, particularly since Harris Heller's decided to move. So lots of people moved. You were moving before that anyway, but it just happened to coincide.
So I started really thinking about doing the move late August, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Started researching into it, and then beginning of February was when I was going to make the dive, but ended up going into the hospital, and that pushed it back a month. So then, of course, me saying, I'm moving to YouTube happened literally the same exact day as Harris Heller, just like 2 hours beforehand. And I was like, great, how everybody thinks I'm just hopping on a bandwagon.
No, I think people who knew you knew that that was something you'd planned anyway.
Yep.
It's just that a lot of other content creators have now seemingly taken the dive without thinking it through too much. But so from your perspective, what are the main benefits of going to YouTube, and what are the main pitfalls?
So benefits, I mean, just the discoverability. As long as you can figure out thumbnails and titles, make them good enough to click. I mean, if I'm doing a World of Warcraft stream or making a World of Warcraft video, then I'm making sure that obviously the thumbnail is World of Warcraft related. And if it's not like a specific, like this is how you do this in the game, and it's more of just a funny thing, maybe I'll branch out outside of World of Warcraft. But typically, your thumbnail and your title have to be relevant to the content within the video. And then, you got your description and your tags. It works very much, or actually exactly the same as like website search engine optimization. So better you do with optimizing your content, the better you're going to do with getting discovered, or following trends, making sure, okay, well, if Asmongold puts out this video on Death Knight and I think I have more content that I can add to it, and what I mean by that is if he says this is how you tank as a Death Knight and I have a different take on it, but it's still tanking as a Death Knight it's going to be pretty similar, whoever tells you how to do it. Then I might look at that and go, okay, well, this is time for me to make a Death Knight tanking video, and maybe I can show up in the suggested beside him as he, his million plus viewer base is taking a peek at what he's doing.
So you got the discoverability, obviously the recommended streamers. What is a potential negative or maybe a side effect you've had of transferring?
The only negative that I have come across that really annoys me, but it's something that they've already announced that they're working on, they're months into working on it, is their API. So when you look at games like Marbles or, the sound alerts thing that you can get on Twitch, you can't do that on YouTube right now because there's no way to integrate what's happening. But even outside of that, with like OBS, if someone subscribes to you, you don't know about it typically for about 4 to 6 hours after they do it. So if someone subscribes to you while you are streaming, you can't. I mean, I'm big on thanking the community, letting them know that I freaking love them more than they love me. So it's kind of hard to do that when you don't even know someone's popped in and subscribed to you unless they're chatting or whatever. So that's probably the only downfall, to be thoroughly honest.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's good to hear. I think from my perspective, one of the main reasons I haven't taken that jump is that connectivity. Obviously, we did a tech show a while ago with Mighty about the Leoran board. I use it. He uses it. I know you've been asking him about it quite recently, just trying to see where they're at with it. But that's one.
Because if I could have a viewer of mine make me throw grenades, I'd want to throw grenades too.
Never happens.
Never.
Okay, so let's obviously things are a little bit in flux for you right now, streaming wise. Hopefully one day you'll be able to go back full time streaming, but right now you need to obviously look at what's best for you. So let's think back to when you were streaming full time. How did you fit full-time streaming in around your daily life? Or was it the other way around?
Well, that was kind of the problem. Okay. I went from working a job where I was working, 80 plus hours a week regularly, consistently. I mean, all last year up until I quit that job, I had 6 total days off. I mean, it wasn't, I have a huge work ethic. I honestly enjoy working. I like doing something that I can just dive headfirst into, and typically I let it absorb me, essentially. Full-time streaming, I let do the same thing. So I was waking up at 4 a.m. I was working on whatever I was working on until 2 o'clock in the morning, going to bed, waking back up 3 hours later, going right back to it, which isn't the way to do it. There was no balance there. So I ended up sliding through, like I said, kind of a dark area in my life, so had to reset a little bit, and then the situation that had allowed me to go full-time sort of got taken away with me being in the hospital for as long as I was.
Okay, so let's go back to schedule for your actual stream. Obviously, your offline content, you put in a lot of work. You weren't streaming from 4 a.m. to 2 a.m. where you put in a lot of effort into your actual offline content, and that showed. But when it came to your actual sit-down streams with the community, did you schedule those, or did they have a set schedule every week? Did that change?
So there was a set schedule long term. I mean, I say set schedule because I was adjusting and moving it around as I needed to, but there was, for the most part, it was every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Depending on which point in that situation you asked me, it was either 2 times a day or 1 time a day. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday has pretty much been my set days. And then now I'm looking at 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. every night on those 3 nights. Before it was more like 8 a.m. to like noon. So definitely set schedule pretty much the entire time, except for random streams that you throw in there for whatever reason you're throwing them in there for.
Okay, great. So if somebody was to pop by your channel today, like me for the first time, if I was to go click on your YouTube channel and you're live, what is the essence of your streaming channel?
For my streaming channel, for PapaKrund Gaming, we're looking at essentially just MMORPG content. So right now I'm big into Final Fantasy 14. Right now I'm actually taking care of some stuff left over from when I was in the hospital, so I'm not in the same town as my computer, so I'm not streaming this week. But yeah, you see a lot of MMORPG content, a little bit of kind of growth tips, like personal growth tips. So whatever I'm working on, for instance, I'm big on talking about making up my bed in the morning. Every morning, it's something I do. It's the first thing on my to-do list. I check it off. That's what it is. It grows momentum for the rest of the day, for the rest of my to-do list. And that's just something that I talk about regularly, that type of content regularly on top of the MMORPGs. And then, any general questions people are asking about streaming. I've learned a pretty good chunk of technology and software, things like that. So I can typically answer questions they have about it.
Cool. So it's very game focused, but also helping community focused.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, number one focus is community. So, every time I talk about it, I want to grow a community for gaming that is has a strong focus on personal development, gaming development. So, and what I mean by that is not the actual development of video games, but becoming a better gamer. So, especially in the MMORPG niche, whatever pronunciation you go with. There's multiple roles, and each role has their own etiquette, things that they follow. So we talk about that a lot too. So if you're a tank, you're tanking, you're focusing on that, you're keeping awareness, and we break down each role kind of like that. But personal development, gaming, or developing yourself as a gamer, as well as just giving everybody a safe space they can come and hang out and not worry about discrimination, hatred. We don't tolerate any of it there. So
that's great. That is a great thing to strive to, and obviously the hatred and things can get in the bin.
Right.
Okay, so did you start out live on Twitch, or was it Facebook, or
it was Twitch?
So
Day one,
Twitch.
September 14th was the very first day I streamed. I was on Twitch.
Great. So what pushed you on September 14th to press that go live button?
I've been wanting to stream for a long time. I used to watch a lot of content creators, not necessarily streamers. There was one guy that played a rogue, and now that I'm trying to think of his name, I can't remember his dang name, but he did a lot of videos on like rogue PvP for World of Warcraft. I mean, he had only died once in like a 4-year lifespan of his character at that point, and that's including PvP, world PvP, raiding, yada, yada, yada. He was a lot of fun to watch, and it was honestly just one of those, like, when I got out of school, I was always excited. I knew that he uploaded videos every Monday and Friday, and I'd be just super stoked to get in there and be a part of watching that. But even after that, I mean, as YouTube grew and as Facebook grew and these other forms of media, and kind of, it's so easy to go down a rabbit hole of content that is, I don't want to say bad, because there is no bad content, but content that is not relevant to anything that you're trying to get done. So you start by looking up a video of how to change an alternator in a 1990 Ford Explorer, and suddenly you're on a video of a cat meowing with a weird voice. Like, seeing that and just being like, you know what, I think...
I was thinking cat as well.
Yep.
I was about to say, a cat video, and then you just said it.
Yep. But I mean, it was one of those where I was like, I think I could do this, and I could do it in a focused manner, and put out content that's valuable and relevant, and it's something I think would be a lot of fun to do. And well, I was right on the fun part. I was not right on the being able to stay focused.
Yeah, that happens to everyone. Obviously, the big content creators, they have people to keep them focused anyway. But yeah, focus is one of the main things. Okay, so have you always enjoyed like WoW and MMOs and gaming, or is it something you picked up later on in life?
So my brother actually got me started with gaming when I was like 6. I want to say, and don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure the first like game that I ever played was Medal of Honor Allied Assault, I think.
Yeah.
It's like one of the first ones where they actually had like a multiplayer component to it.
Yeah, with the beach.
Then then from there we went to a couple other Medal of Honor games. Red Faction. I was a big Red Faction fan. I loved actually creating levels and stuff on there. That was a lot of fun. And then I ended up discovering MMOs like the year that EverQuest released. So 1999, I believe it was, or 2000, maybe it was 2000. I'm pretty sure it was 1999.
Okay.
And since then, I mean, I still play other games, obviously. You've seen me play Warzone, and, I'm decent at other games. But MMOs are just my passion. They're a huge love of mine. They're the one thing I can say I can hop into pretty much any MMO and grasp it within a month and probably be not the best at it. I don't want to sound like that, but I can roll with the big dogs and understand what's going on.
That's good. That's good. Great. So for your stream, what kind of key influences or influencers helped mold your stream or led you in a certain direction?
Well, that's actually a good question, because as far as streaming goes, there weren't too many that I watched regularly before I started streaming. I was more into watching like YouTube content and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the ones that I did, like, it's kind of like, those movies. When you see them live, you watch them because that's just what you do. Stone Mountain 64 was always one of them. Gosh, Asmongold is always a good option.
Yeah. What about so obviously it doesn't have. I'm guessing the YouTube content did have some influence on you.
It had a huge influence on me.
Yeah. So what kind of key influences did you take from them? And
you see, and that's kind of an interesting question too, because it wasn't just like I couldn't name one in particular, but what I can tell you is that when I went to websites like Alakazam or Icy Veins or those kind of information deposits for games where they have multiple creators that work for them, Icy Veins especially just has a really good group of content creators that keep the vibe and everything pretty similar across all their videos. Yep, and that right there, realizing that I could actually teach people about what I'm passionate about, the MMOs, that's what got me excited to start doing it.
Great, nice. So, what kind of streams do you like watching now? Is there any particular like bigger streamers that you like watching that influences you now after you started?
I don't know about bigger, because honestly, since I've started streaming, I've started steering away from, well, not steering away from, like, not purposely making the decision to, but I started watching a lot of streamers that are smaller, or, growing, whatever terminology you want to use. I don't want to call them small streamers because they just don't have the recognition yet.
Yeah.
But streamers like, yourself, I pop in there whenever I can.
It's always good to have you.
Mighty Gamer Dad, Cataclysmic Scar, big fan of Dana Locks. God, I mean, of course, again, now that I'm trying to think of names, none of them is just coming out. I've met a couple of them that are newer too that I've really enjoyed in the last month or two that I've known them. People like Radonarak, Rivalent. He streams over on YouTube. He's the only other YouTube streamer I know. Captain Redbeard, obviously. Westfall 404. Big fan of Nizareth. With his Final Fantasy content, it's always a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, and especially like the Bird, Bionic Bonnie. I like watching them whenever I see them live.
Yeah.
Iron Smithy. I mean, the list goes on and on. The longer I sit here, I could keep naming them, but
you could.
And they all have a similar vibe. Well, I mean, not all of them are PG. Not all of them are, even strictly gaming. Like Mighty Gamer Dad doesn't even game anymore.
Yep.
But they all have a very similar idea to what I'm trying to build in the community, which is, inclusiveness, community, growth. Don't be bringing in some form of crap where you're harassing somebody. And that's one of the big things that I enjoy when I watch streams.
Great. So what do you think is the most important attribute to be a good streamer? And I'm not saying an amazing, like, massive number streamer, but if you were starting out and you'd say, yeah, you need this to be a good streamer.
I think the biggest thing is just some sort of a drive. I mean, even if it's not community focused, but like it's fun to see people when they're passionate about something, whatever it is. So, I mean, when you watch someone like, and we're going back to a big dog because it just is what it is, but when you think of someone like Nick Merckx, it's fun to watch him get so excited or angry or whatever about Call of Duty because it's what he loves doing. when you're looking at Cataclysmic Scar, he gets super hype about like the really cool plays, and he can break them down like nobody else in the world. Well, in my opinion, like nobody else in the world. But seeing those people that are just super excited to do what they're doing, you have to have some form of excitement or some sort of a drive, or else you're just boring.
That's a good way of putting it. Great. Okay, so going back to your content, so how did you decide which games or which category to put yourself into on a given? Was it just what you happened to be liking? Was it you solely stuck to MMOs? What helped you decide?
It was kind of a learning process. So when I first started, I was WoW for the first. I mean, WoW and Call of Duty for the first little bit, and it was doing okay. But I found myself not liking the Call of Duty so much as the WoW. So then I leaned into WoW. But I mean, and I know you're not supposed to chase the numbers, but the numbers were not there. I mean, I'd go from averaging 16, 20 people down to averaging like 2. And it was kind of like, okay, well, WoW may not be the game, so we're going to go back to playing Call of Duty and doing all this. And I did that for, 2 or 3, 4 months, just doing whatever I felt like playing for the day, which was fine. I mean, the numbers were there, but again, I found myself not enjoying it as much. So then I sat down and said, okay, well, maybe not WoW, but what could I do? Because I think personally, while I super enjoy WoW and I get excited for it, a lot of it is very... I don't want to say boring, but it's so second nature now that I don't realize that I end up just trailing off and not even paying attention to what I'm doing. So I said, okay, well, maybe we'll try out some Final Fantasy 14, and that's done much better because I actually have those moments during the cinematics where I'm like, oh, what's going on now? And stuff like that, stuff where I can get excited about it, and it's not like the same old thing I've done for, 14 years, 16 years now, something like that.
Great. Well, I'm glad you've kind of refound that. I'll say passion. It's probably not passion, but that kind of, like it's the first time kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like looking at that sparkly diamond for the first time after you bring it home.
That's good. Obviously, WoW's been here for such a long time. People forget that, although there's new DLCs, expansions. But
it's just not the same. I mean,
core gameplay loop's the same,
Yeah, it's the story's cool. It's cool to get caught up to the story, but once you get caught up to the story, and a lot of these, like the mechanics are fun, and like the raids and the high-end progression, but then when you're trying to do high-end progression, unless you just have a community that's there to watch that, it can be hard because you can't talk. I mean, it's just like when you're in a really sweaty match of Call of Duty, it's hard to actually communicate with chat, and I want my focus to be chat. I don't want it to be getting through the raid that I'm trying to get through. So happy median had to be found. And then with New World coming out here soon, I was going to end up switching it anyway. So I'll be switching. Yeah, I'm switching full steam over to New World. You got accepted into their creator program and everything. So it should be a good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So this is your opportunity. Give it a little spiel, a little hook. Get people in your channel. Go on.
Okay. So again, you guys know me. My name is PapaKrund. My real name is Josh. Been through some crap here lately. We're working through it. We're trying to grow the community as best we can, regardless of that. We have a great base to it right now. Moving over to YouTube, I'll be thoroughly honest. I lost quite a few viewers. We're sitting at 50 subscribers as opposed to 680 followers, but I'm more than happy to do that because the people that are there now are engaged. They are actively communicating. They're having fun. They're communicating with each other. There's been some friendships that have been created. It's just a good, solid community and a great start to it. Outside of that, recent projects started. We got Josh Grows, both on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and everything else, which is going to follow my real life path and going through all that. All content for that is actually made from my mobile phone. So that's kind of fun. And eventually we'll start intermingling some of those communities a little bit. But there's a lot of fun stuff going on in my channel, in my community. Each individual community members, a lot of them have their own community. So we're surrounded by just a lot of positive people. So if you want to be a part of that, you can find me at PapaKrund Gaming on YouTube. You can find me at Krund Papa on Twitter. You can find me PapaKrund everywhere else, or Josh Grows everywhere else. There's a space in between.
Nice. Great. Is there anything else you want to say?
I kind of want to rub your head, Moose.
Well, that's definitely not making it in. That's getting cut. Or maybe it'll be at the end in the bloopers.
How you doing? We'll put that on the private site.
Okay, well, this has been the Streamer Showcase. That man's been PapaKrund. See you around.